Hey, Twisted listeners, I'm Cindy,
And I'm Viva
and this is Twisted Listers, a podcast about murder.
and Liz.
And this is part two?
Two.
Yeah, part
Yes.
two.
Yes.
Sorry, my brain isn't working right now. It never is. It's just like,
No.
why do I apologize? This is good. Part two of murders that have gone viral.
Mm-hmm.
Part one was pretty wild. I realized that the murders that went viral from part one weren't viral really in the way that like I think of viral. Well, the what's his name? The don't fuck with cats guy, I guess was. But that was more. But like Shanquella, it was more like we went viral because they're trying to get justice for her, which I find really like
Well, it went viral
frustrating.
after the fact. The beating video is what went
Right.
viral after
Right.
the fact.
Right.
But and I mean, I guess Luca Magnotta's video is also after the fact because the guy was murdered, and then
Well,
the video went viral. But
right, but I guess like for Luca Magnotta, it went viral because it was so shocking and horrifying, and he wanted it to. And
right.
for Shanquella, it was more like it went viral because people are like, "What the fuck? Why is nothing?
What the fuck is this?"
done?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one I'm doing today, which is also Canadian, so I could also just be doing Canadian murders, it went viral in a totally different way, and is like, so it's just interesting how all these videos are like
different ways. Yeah.
murders are viral, but it's all like completely different reasons and different ways. So anyway, that's my really like deep,
yeah.
Assessment of this
different kinds of viralness.
Viralness.
Yes.
Did you pick this?
You did.
I picked it, so I go first today.
Yes.
Holy shit. Okay. Well, do we have anything else to talk about? Not too much, right? Okay. Join us on Patreon. Join us everywhere. We love you guys. Numbers are picking up for downloads. We're really appreciative. We love you guys. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing, and sharing. And another big shout out to Kay for holding it down.
Yeah.
With all the online stuff. We're getting into it. It's been more consistent already. And we'll all take turns posting and just make it real fun for everybody. So thanks guys for thanks for listening and enjoying our Instagram. All right, so I guess I should just jump in, right? Let's talk about these viral murders. Okay. So this one's totally different again. This is not viral for the same reason whatsoever. But it is a really big story, and Netflix did a documentary on it recently, just like my last one. I know I did not pick these so I could watch the Netflix documentaries.
Look, I do that, so there's no shame.
I know, but I thought about that, and I was like, it's really funny that these both have Netflix documentaries, and like I didn't watch them like this week or anything. Like I have watched them previously, but like I did my research like the old-fashioned way, using the internet and reading.
Oh,
it's hilarious that's
look
the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, this is the story of Caleb Kai McGillvary, otherwise known as the Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker. And if you don't know this story, you're gonna fucking love it. If you do know the story, you probably already love it. So
I literally
like
don't
tell it.
So
you don't know this story?
I haven't even watched the Netflix special, which has surprised me. I don't know why. I always watch every Netflix crime special like within 5 minutes of it coming out. So
that surprises me a lot, and it makes me really happy because this is a weird ass tale. All right, so anyway, let's get into it. Kai here was born Caleb Lawrence McGillvary on September 3rd, 1988 in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And his father is an Indigenous man. They are Cree. His mother is white. And Kai was raised basically like in white society, although he did spend time on native lands, and he did participate in certain ceremonies. And actually, he took the name Kai after attending one of those ceremonies. Okay. So pretty interesting. So this story mostly takes place first in California, then in New Jersey, and in the year 2013. But I'm going to talk about Kai a little bit before we get to the main event. Kai was raised in like a weird, fucked up family. He said they were Christian fundamentalists, but at the very least, his mother was really like weirdly overprotective of him, and his parents didn't really know how to take care of him. His parents divorced when he was 4, and I think his dad was still in the picture, but not like 50-50 or anything.
Yeah.
His cousin, or I think it was his cousin or a close family member, said that Kai's mother would basically lock him up in the house for like being, quote unquote, out of control when he was really kind of just like a regular kid. And Kai said, yeah, this is true. And he said that it was as bad as when he was 2 years old, he was getting locked in the house for as many as 20 hours a day because his mom just couldn't figure out how to raise him.
That's tough.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this is true. His mother, of course, denies this and says it's all a manifestation of his mental health issues. But I do have to say that after watching the Netflix documentary, I really don't trust her. I feel like something's up with her. She did also say, and his father sort of backed this up, that, again, he had lots of issues growing up. And he spent most of his youth, meaning from age 9 to 18, in various treatment homes for mental health issues. So half of his life before he became an adult.
That's so young. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. I kind of wonder if part of it was her just being like, he's a rambunctious kid. I can't handle him. I'm going to lock him in a room. And then once I can't do that anymore because he's too big, he's 9 years old, I'm just going to like give him up to the state,
Yeah. Yeah.
His father said that while in those homes, Kai was sexually assaulted. And he said, the system failed our son. When he was 18, he was just cut loose. And as soon as he was, quote unquote, cut loose, he became homeless, but intentionally so. Kai chose that lifestyle and called it home free because he was living exactly how he wanted to live. And also, I did want to say that, his parents said he was sexually assaulted. Kai said when he was 17 years old, he was raped in one of these homes. So he's got a chip on his shoulder there for sure.
Yeah.
So Kai's living, home free, and he would travel around Canada. He'd go into the US. He surfed, he skateboarded, he played guitar. He was like the quintessential hippie traveler dude, right?
Yeah.
He had 100 friends I had 100 friends like him growing up in Northern California. Like, I know this guy like 100 times over. Sure. But like, the weird thing is so many people that are like him were also not like him because Kai was so charismatic. He was able to make friends and gain people's trust basically anywhere he went. He had this weird mix of like chilled out dude and like angry anti-government badass, and also just like that kind of like stoner, half paying attention, kind of like, whoa, kind of vibe.
Yeah. I mean, in like another like life, sounds like someone that we would hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's so, he's just super, super charming. He's smart. He's well-spoken, even though he's also kind of not well-spoken. Like, he can be really like, yo. And then I was like, dude, but then he'll like take a moment and like collect himself and he'll say something that's just like, and it's just like, wow, So this is why to this day he has a ton of fans because he's so charismatic and he's just charming. He's super charming. Yeah. So now we're in 2012 and Kai decides to quote unquote move to California. I say move because he just chose California as the place he would roam around,
Right.
It was probably due to good weather, beaches, places to surf. It's a good state. It's a good state. I like our state.
It's true.
So he's here for about a year. He's made some friends. He definitely had a cell phone, so he had Facebook and all of that. And he's just kind of hanging out, going up and down the coast, doing his thing. So now it's February 2013, and Kai hitches a ride outside of Fresno from a man we later learn is named Jet McBride. Now, while in the car with this guy, Kai said that Jet told him that he went to the Virgin Islands and raped a teenage girl while on vacation.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He said the two of them like smoked a joint together, and then this dude Jet started getting really fucking weird. And he tells Kai, like, you know what I realized? I'm Jesus Christ, and I can do whatever I want. And this guy then, with Kai in the car, crashes his car into some PG&E workers. PG&E is Pacific Gas and Electric, for those of you who don't know. So they're like utility workers.
Yeah.
And he straight up pins this guy against his car and the PG&E truck. And he's just like stuck. And Kai is like, what the fuck? You know, he hops out of the car. Jet's still in the car. So Kai gets out to try to help the guy who's pinned. And these two women walk up as well, or run up, and they're like trying to help. They're like, oh my God, we're going to call 911. So this guy, Jet, who had remained in the car to this point and is like, 300 pounds. He's a huge, big dude. He gets out and he attacks one of the women. And he puts her in this like violent bear hug. And he's like holding her and like hurting her, right? And he's saying like, I'm Jesus Christ. And he also said some like vaguely racist, or maybe not even vaguely, but like some racist shit, because the PG&E worker that he attacked was black. So
oh no,
he's just like fucking on one.
Yeah.
So Kai sees him in, holding this woman in this bear hug, and he runs over and he pulls a hatchet out of his backpack. Kai does. And he starts wailing on the dude. Now he's not using the sharp end, he's using the blunt end.
Okay.
But he's hitting the guy over the head until the guy crumples to the ground like a sack of potatoes, is how Kai says it, and lets the woman go. Now, police are called, and the people who see what Kai did, they're like, dude, get out of here. Like, just go. Like, thank you so much for saving us. Like, don't get in trouble. But he sticks around, and police arrive, and they end up interviewing him, and he kind of tells them what happened, and they let him go. And, the news also gets called, and this guy arrives. I forget what his name is. He has like a kind of an interesting name, but he's like a sportscaster normally, but he ends up covering this, for the local Fox News station in Fresno. So he finds Kai and asks him for an interview. And this is where the story starts with the viral. This is what goes viral. Kai, for whatever reason, agrees to the interview. I think because the reporter dude like looked pretty young. He looked like he might be like a surfer, So Kai feels like a connection, right? So he starts talking to Kai, but before Kai, he's like, so what happened? And Kai's like about to tell him, and he's like, quote, before I say anything else, I want to say, no matter what you've done, you deserve respect, even if you make mistakes. You're lovable, and it doesn't matter your looks, skills, or age, or size, or anything. You're worthwhile. No one can take that away from you.
Aww.
Yeah, so people are immediately just like, oh my God, I fucking love this guy.
Yeah,
like,
so earnest.
Yeah, and before he has this interview, he takes the time to like say that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty special, despite all that's to come. So anyway, he tells the story of what happens, and he does so in this really funny way that is like very like viral ready. And he just, he's like, okay, he's describing what happened. And then when he gets to the part where he's talking about hitting Jet with the hatchet, he's like physically showing what he did, like putting his hand up and like coming down on like a fake head. And when he does it, he's like, and I was like, smash, smash, smash. And then he goes, yeah. Like he's all proud of himself. Like, it's just really, but it's also, and I will say this now, it's kind of, going a little bit ahead, but like when he's talking about this act of violence, his eyes almost like glaze over. Like he almost is like not there anymore, but he's like wrapped up in that moment.
Yeah, he's enjoying the discussion.
Yeah. But he's just full of crazy quips, and he's really, like I said, very charismatic. Like when the reporter asks him if he has a last name, he says, nah, man, I don't have anything. And then flashes this like really funny smile.
Yeah.
Then to seal the deal on his viral status, when asked why he stepped in, he gets really serious and says, that woman was in danger. He just finished what looked like killing somebody. And if I hadn't done that, he would have killed more people.
And so he's like this perfect mix of like irreverent and funny, but also like earnest.
Yeah. And just a little weird. So like everybody, irreverent, I guess. Yeah. You just said it better than I did. So from here on out, Kai is a fucking superstar. And this dude who interviewed him somehow becomes something of his friend, and is like the only person able to interview Kai from there on out until a point. So Kai goes on his way. He gives this reporter dude his email address, and this video goes so fucking viral. Every newscaster, every like talk show host, everybody in the fucking nation is like, where the fuck is Kai? We want to interview him. And this newscaster has his email, so he reaches out, and Kai gives him another exclusive interview. And it this guy, his journalistic career, like, he's in orbit now. He's like rocketed into fucking fame just by being the only person who can talk to Kai. So he gets this other interview with Kai. They go meet at a park. They have this long discussion. People are just fucking eating it up. And this guy somehow ends up facilitating Kai going on Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy Kimmel gifts him a surfboard because he's a surfer, but he doesn't have a surfboard. Which is
Oh,
interesting because, like, he doesn't have a surfboard because he doesn't have a place to put it. Like, what's he gonna do with
oh,
that?
right. That's
He's
true.
like a traveler, you know? So it just, to me, that was like peak like rich white people being like, look at what we're doing. And it's like that's performative and doesn't actually help him. Like he can't
Yeah.
take that with him. But anyway, so now he's doing a bunch of interviews. His Facebook page blows up. He's got all these followers. Everywhere he goes, he makes friends. He has a great time. He gets invited to play on stage with bands. He's always got places to stay. You know, he doesn't have to sleep outside
Yeah.
ever again, essentially. But he's a kind of a weird and scary dude. And if you watch the Netflix documentary, it really kind of shows a lot of videos where he's just kind of being weird. Like on Jimmy Kimmel, he was like trying
Mhm.
to be funny and it was really awkward. And you could just tell that he's like not not like fully there, I want to say all the time.
Yeah. Or there's
Like
like some
sometimes,
cracks around the edges of him trying to like keep
yeah.
it together for the public. There's like some cracks showing.
Yeah, like there's definitely a reason that he was in those homes, and there's definitely a reason that he chose to kind of live outside of like normal society.
Right.
And I think it's if people weren't so busy trying to like exploit his viral fame, they would have seen it. But people were so
Yeah.
I fucking hate Jimmy Kimmel, by the way. Fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
So people like him are just gross and they are just like exploit, exploit, exploit. They didn't care at all about this guy, obviously, you know. And also like just the fact that he's like super down to hit this dude with a hatchet is like pretty telling. He hit him with the
Yeah.
back of it, you know. And obviously like if
Yeah.
you're a hitchhiker, having weapons makes sense. It's not like a bad idea, but also later on people say, you know, he was really unpredictable and sometimes scary when they met him, like people that he met after this video went
Hmm.
viral. And we also, again, we have to remember that he spent time in these mental health facilities and he's definitely not taking any medications for whatever might be ailing him. And also just becoming super famous like that is very disconcerting, like overnight, you know?
Yeah.
So he also has to testify in the Jet McBride trial, and that goes, you know, viral. So you get the idea.
Yeah.
So he's famous, but he's still transient and he's still just doing whatever he wants, going wherever the wind blows. So now it's just a couple months later in May of 2013, and he's found himself in New York and New Jersey. And he's in Times Square hanging out. And by some weird turn of events, he meets a 73-year-old lawyer named Joseph Golfi, who offers to buy him a train ticket, I think, to Philadelphia. But first, he's
Hmm.
like, why don't you come stay at my house for the night?
Mm.
Kai agrees, and Joseph takes him to his New Jersey home. So let's just think about this for a minute. Kai is 24 years old. This
Yeah.
man is 73, and they met at Times Square in New
Right.
York, right? So that's already very weird. Kai, there were, he had alluded, you know, to sex work as
Hmm.
part of his, you know, being unhoused. He was raped, you know, in the mental health facilities. He also said he was sexually abused as a child when he lived with his parents. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of a pattern of like what's going on here, right?
Hmm.
So I think the ticket was for May 13th. So Kai is, you know, hanging out in the city for a day and, you know, he stays with Joseph and then he goes back to New York for the day. And he has plans to meet up with a female fan with whom he's supposed to stay the night, but he like stops responding to her or she stops responding to him. Anyway, they don't hook up. So he ends up going and staying the night with this man, Joseph, again. And on that night, May 12th, around 9 p.m., he again hits this girl up and is like, can you please come pick me up from Clark, New Jersey, which is where Joseph lived.
Okay.
So it's like he went to Joseph's house that day again to stay the night. And then at 9 o'clock, he's asking to be picked up.
Yeah.
When she can't pick him up, he goes to a nearby diner. He takes photos with some fans, and I think he finds a place to stay.
Okay.
He then goes and meets up with her the next day on May 13th, and she doesn't even recognize him because he's cut all of his hair off. Now, Kai
Hmm.
had really like shoulder length, very curly hair, and he would
Yeah.
wear it with like a bandana to keep it out of his face. And it
It's
was a very,
distinctive.
yeah, very signature look. So then he cuts his hair to like a short dude's haircut, and people are like, who the fuck is this? You know, like what
Yeah.
is this? So she just thought that was really weird. Like, why did he change his look so much? You know. Meanwhile, Joseph's secretary calls his brother because Joseph, who is a lawyer, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that, never showed
Mm.
up for court, which is unheard of for him.
Oof.
So his brother goes to his house and he sees things out of order and he calls the police. And they enter the home and they find Joseph dead in his living room in only his socks and underwear.
Mm.
Yeah. They start looking for clues in the home immediately, and they find Kai's cell phone number scribbled on a piece of paper, as well as a receipt for a train ticket with Kai's name on it. So everybody knows who Kai is. You know, he's fucking internet famous for the last 3 months. He's
Yeah.
everywhere every day. So police immediately know who he is. They know who they're looking for. They put a bulletin out, calling for his arrest. And this, of course, also goes viral. And everybody's like, oh my God, what's going on? 3 days later, Kai is in Philly at a Starbucks, and a worker calls the police and reports that he's there. Police
Okay.
arrive and they track him down at a nearby Greyhound station where he's arrested and held for murder with a $3 million bail.
Wow.
Yeah. So as soon, just as an aside here, going back to the Jet McBride thing where, Kai hit him over the head with the hatchet, as soon as Kai gets arrested for murder, Jet McBride's lawyers start saying, oh, Kai actually was the one to grab the wheel. Kai was this. Yeah. Trying to blame him, but it's like, did Kai put the woman in the bear hug?
Yeah, you're still an asshole, Jet. And there was witnesses,
Yeah, and everybody's like, no. It didn't work at all. But I thought that was interesting that they tried it. And to close out that portion of things, later that same year in 2013, or maybe 2014, Jet McBride was found not guilty of attempted murder by reason of insanity, and he was remanded to a Atascadero State Mental Health Facility for a minimum of 9 years. So, yeah. But it's interesting that the star witness in that case is now also, at that time, awaiting a murder trial.
Yeah.
And things are kind of weird relating to the trial. First, Kai immediately claims the attack was self-defense and that the man raped him. And in fact, that's the same day that Joseph was killed, Kai posted the following on his Facebook page, which is really gross and concerning. Quote, what would you do if you woke up with a groggy head, metallic taste in your mouth, in a stranger's house, walked to the mirror and seen cum dripping from the side of your face from your mouth, and started retching, realizing someone had drugged, raped, and blown their fucking load in you? What would you do?
Ew.
Yeah, sorry, I should have trigger warned that.
No, it's yeah, trigger warning for grossness, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really gnarly.
Ugh.
So now police have to investigate whether or not this is self-defense, which, for the record, this is the only story that Kai has told from the beginning.
Okay.
When interviewed, he said he was raped by Joseph while sleeping on the first night he was there, but decided not to say anything and keep the peace and just leave. He then said that he ended up not having anywhere to sleep the next night, so when Joseph offered him to stay over again, he reluctantly accepted. He then said Joseph tried to pull the same shit, coming at him in his underwear only, and Kai punched him out, then left. Kai tried to say, he drugged my drink. He tried to do it again. I punched him in the face and I left. There is that text from him to the girl he was supposed to stay with that same night asking to be picked up, so that sort of matches his story. But, and this is a very big but, there's an autopsy of Joseph. He was not punched once.
Right.
He was attacked all over his body. I think he had broken ribs, bruised face. And the coroner, the medical examiner, found that he had been stomped to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oof. So that's not really a self-defense move, generally.
It's extra brutal. Yeah.
That's a blackout kind of thing. And Kai actually said, I blacked out. He went after me. I fought back in self-defense. Next thing I know, I'm at a diner. So he does the whole I blacked out and didn't know what I was doing bullshit excuse.
Yeah. I mean, he could have responded to a sexual assault, but he did so with extreme violence, not one punch.
Extreme violence. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a couple other things, like the fact that the day after he claims he was raped by this man the first time, when the man drops him off at this train station to go back into New York, they hug goodbye. And that's just interesting that he would hug the man.
Okay. Yeah. That's tough for his case later, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then we have the autopsy, like I said, showing the major overkill, literally and figuratively. There's also the idea that because Kai was a victim of sexual abuse, multiple times in his life, even if the man propositioned him and he said yes,
he's triggered.
Yeah, he could have been really triggered. Police were saying, we think it's a vigilante case of vigilantism. They said at one point, the prosecution during the trial said, we found a list of suspected pedophiles in his pocket. Like, we think he was targeting people, but I feel like that's a little bit too far in the other direction. What I think probably happened was somewhere in the middle. There was probably some sort of consensual sex for money that took place that made Kai feel really dirty. So when the man asked him to come back, he said yes. It's unclear if he said yes with the intent to like harm the man, or if he just went back and then ended up harming the man. But in any case, he didn't go to trial for 6 years. He didn't go to trial till 2019. Yeah. And he was in prison the whole time. And when they finally went to trial, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, meaning they believed the prosecution that he went back with the intent of murdering this man.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why they believed that is just because of the severity of his injuries. The attack was so gnarly.
And, even if he did actually assault him the first time, he could still have, again, by the legal definition, premeditated to go back and kill him.
Yeah, absolutely. So absolutely. By the legal definition.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the deal is. He definitely, Kai is maintaining his innocence. He's still in prison. He has appealed the conviction, but his appeal was thrown out in 2021. He was given, I believe, 57 years. Oof. And he has to serve 80 because of New Jersey's like tough on crime laws. He has to serve 85% before he's eligible for parole. So he will be eligible for parole in like 2072, I think, 2076, something like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much a life sentence, really.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, what the judge said is like, if you get out on time, serving 85%, you're still going to be younger than, Joseph was when you killed him. So, which I don't really understand the point of that, because
that's just some math, but
it's just some math. Just some math. But anyway, so pretty fucking weird, twisted tale. I mean, it's so crazy how he went from like internet superstar to like murder suspect to prisoner in the span of like 3.5 months.
Oh, but that is wild. And like such a lovable, heroic character, and then like these cracks start to show through, and it takes like very little time for it to just blow up.
Yeah, very, very little time. And it's just like immediate. So
wow.
Yeah, really crazy, right? Like
now we'll go watch the documentary. I'm ready.
You should. It's pretty it's a little salacious. I don't love his mom, but it's got a lot of good footage. So
okay.
Whew. All right.
Okay.
It's yours.
All right. Oh my gosh, I wrote quite a lot about this, so hang in there with me, everyone. This is the story of Bianca Devins.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been kind of wanting to do this story forever, and I'm glad it hung out until now, because this could not be more quintessential to the idea of crimes that went viral.
Yeah, absolutely.
In every way. Yeah. In a multitude of ways. So, oh my God. Sorry, I have feelings about this case, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
This happened it's so fucking fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
This happened in 2019 in Utica, New York.
Mm-hmm.
I spent some time in Ithaca as a kid, so Utica is dear to my heart. We are going to start in a very abrupt fashion, kind of where the story begins, really, when a gruesome photo of a young woman's nearly decapitated body appears on Discord.
Oh my God.
And it quickly goes viral across Discord and then every conceivable social media platform. Her identity is quickly determined to be Bianca Devins, who is a 17-year-old girl from the very small, cute upstate New York town of Utica. She had just graduated high school only 2 weeks prior.
Oh, so fucked up.
This is July. Yeah.
She had so much like life ahead of her.
Yes.
It's so fucked up.
Bianca was excited to go to college. She was a really good artist. And she also dabbled in modeling. She's super cute. She enjoyed a prominent presence across a multitude of social media platforms where she had built a moderate following at this time. For example, she had on Instagram, she had a couple different accounts. One of them had as many as 160,000 followers.
Wow. Yeah.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course, it's in no small part due to the fact that she's a very young, very cute girl, right?
She's very cute, and she's got like she does like the pink hair thing.
Yeah.
And she's just very like manic pixie girl kind of thing, like the new version of that. Yeah.
Bianca would later be characterized as a quote unquote e-girl, which is a phenomena of the Gen Z generation that I do not totally understand.
Yeah.
But it's basically a type of an aesthetic, if you will, in which a young woman is kind of punky, has colored hair, kind of manic pixie dream girl, as you said.
Yeah.
Maybe a little gothy, a little punky. It's cute. It's fine. I approve.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cute look.
Very cute.
So particularly, unfortunately, however, one of the platforms she was active on was 4chan.
Oh, why?
Very unfortunately, yeah. And on this platform, which as you may know is deeply problematic and scary and full of incels.
Yeah.
Many young women who are attractive or whatever would be followed by these incels on 4chan. And Bianca, unfortunately, had many of these people, which I guess they called orbiters, of girls of this nature, people who would like be obsessed with some online girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I mean, it's good reflecting in a way on Bianca, but it's unfortunate. Bianca was really polite and kind with her like online fans, and unfortunately made herself very accessible to them, would chat with them, would meet up with them in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll put a pin in that for later. So friends and people who knew Bianca online and in person immediately called police and raised concerns about the photo. Some of them were like, I hope she's injured, or I hope this is a hoax. You know, they're hoping it's not what they think it is.
Right.
So police go to Bianca's home. They can't find her, and they expressed concerns to her mom, Kim. And by the way, this dash cam footage is out there, or not dash cam, the body cam footage of them like showing up and talking to her mom. And the mom is just like deer in the headlights, like, what?
Yeah, just has no idea.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
She calls her. She can't get a hold of her daughter. And she tells authorities that Bianca actually left the night before, July 14th, to go to a concert in New York City with two male friends. And her friend Brandon Clark, who's 21, was driving her.
Okay.
So her mom is like, there's no way Brandon would hurt her. You know, this is a guy we trusted. He's totally like, it couldn't be that, right?
Right.
But this all comes to a, yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say like she's safe. Like maybe something happened to the two of them.
Yeah, she's just flabbergasted that anything could be wrong at all. But this all comes to a screeching halt when 911, the authorities, get a phone call from Brandon saying that he killed Bianca and he is going to kill himself. Yeah. And this is all kind of playing out live as the detectives are already with her mom. So they're kind of slowly filling her in as to what's taking place.
Yeah.
The dispatcher tells Brandon to stay on the phone because they're trying to track him down. He says, and get ready to, this is the first time of, I don't know, 55, 56 times you're going to roll your eyes at this fucking dickbag.
Yeah.
In this case, when they tell him to stay on the line, he says, no, I'm not going to stay on the line with you. I'm going to be dead on the ground.
Oh God, you fucking overdramatic little punk ass. What a fucking dork. Like, of everything else, like, on top of everything else, he's a fucking dork. Like, fuck this guy.
Oh my God, that's even too nice of a word, honestly. He's pathetic.
He's a pathetic piece of shit. How about that?
Yes, that's better. Yeah.
Yes.
So he does actually just then tell them where he is, though.
That's good.
Because he just, trust me, he wants them to find the scene.
Right.
And he is at a dead end road, very close, 10 minutes away from the Devins home, which is really frustrating to think about.
Yeah.
So let's back up for a minute and talk about who is Brandon? How did we get here? What was his relationship like with Bianca? So by all accounts, Brandon seemed like a normal 21-year-old dude. He worked as a Lyft driver pretty casually. He started as a quote unquote orbiter as of Bianca's, and they connected online only in May. So this is like 2 months prior.
Oh, wow. Okay. But his name was probably around the family for quite some time because of the online connection, which is maybe why they trusted him more. Because if it only been 2 months, I wouldn't have felt comfortable, really.
I guess they trusted him. I don't know. For whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
They casually went on a few dates, but it was very casual, not exclusive, very brief. And at some point, Bianca says that she's just not into a serious relationship at that time. You know, she's 17. She's about to go to college. Like, duh. Yeah. But they remained friends and saw each other as friends. And the mom remembers just thinking he was a nice, normal dude friend. That night at the concert, Bianca brought a additional friend who was clearly another casual love interest, a guy named Alex, along with Brandon, and she thought it would be fine, clearly, but then quickly realized it was not. It was an issue for Brandon. He was acting weird and super weird and obviously jealous all night and antagonistic to Alex. That night, she and Alex actually kissed at one point. And yeah, and she clearly was trying to do it out of Brandon's sight, but he kind of caught them or saw them.
Okay. Yeah.
And after she leaves with Brandon, she texts Alex, quote, "I think he saw me kiss you." Which means she did not want him to see, right?
Right, but this is okay, just to be a crotchety old lady, like, this is absolutely, like, unintentional, but, like, intentional teen drama. Like,
It's
this is
stupid,
the type
yeah.
of thing that teenagers do. Like, I didn't want him to see. It's like, well, then don't do it there. You know, and I'm not blaming her at all. I'm just making a comment as to, like, the age and maturity level of these people.
Of course.
Which but the contrast is so stark when we talk about what ends up happening. It's like,
yes, but clearly in her mind, by all accounts, he played off the end of their casual thing as very cool. And so by all accounts, she thought, here's my good guy friend. Like, I think he had really convinced her and gotten her to a place where she didn't think this would be a big deal, like at all.
Right.
Because he was acting very friend casual, you know?
Right.
And so it was like, kind of took her by surprise that night that he was like a jealous boyfriend type. She was like, ugh, you know?
Right. Okay. That makes sense. But also, like, this is just like, and I'm not saying this as like a judgment against her, because I started drama like this from the time I was like 14 till I was like 23. Like, this is my whole fucking thing. So it's not a judgment. It's just remembering like these days, like when I used to be this
she's
way.
17.
And
yeah.
She's
a cute 17-year-old girl. She's gonna kiss the people. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So when authorities get to that's a little bit of background. So when authorities get to the dead end road, they find Brandon in his parked car. He has a knife in his hand, and there's a kind of brief standoff with him and a detective. And we're like, you know, obviously saying drop the knife. And then Brandon cuts himself on the neck, and then somehow manages to post a selfie of himself with his cut neck and captions the photo "ashes to ashes."
What a fucking loser.
I have to laugh at this guy. Like, this is a horrible story, but we have to mock him. I think that's important.
It's the only way to fucking deal with this. It's just so unfair that somebody so fucking stupid and shitty is like able to control the fate of like a really lovely child. You know, little girl.
Yeah. Police sees Brandon, obviously. They get him to an ambulance so he can be treated for a stupid neck wound, which he'll survive, which I think is awesome, because then we get to make fun of him more.
I'd make fun of him anyway. I don't care.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. But they then find, tragically, underneath a tarp, adjacent to the car, Bianca's body.
Yeah.
They also discover a lot of very pathetic staging that Brandon had done at the crime scene. And between this and the social media posts, I cannot believe how much text I'm looking at that I wrote. Like, he did so much. This pathetic little worm baby man did the most. Okay. So he painted on the road in spray paint, "May you never forget me," which is from like a tragic romance Japanese comic book.
Oh, God.
He also set up his cell phone. He pre-programmed his fucking cell phone to play a song called "Test Drive" by Joji on repeat, which is apparently a tragic love song about someone in a relationship where they're more into the person than they are into them.
God, you don't kill people if you're in love with them. Just heads up.
Yeah.
For anybody wondering. Like, it's not a thing.
He also had, in this elaborate setup before he called the cops, he had also posted some photographs to his Instagram story, including one of a freeway at night where he captioned it, "Here comes hell. It's redemption." Right?
What does that even mean? Those are just words.
And then another one is a screenshot from the movie Fight Club with the quote, "This is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time."
God, I fucking hate. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna catch shit for this. I don't like that author, Chuck Palahniuk, or whatever the fuck his name is. I like that movie though. The movie's great. The book is okay, but every fucking book that guy writes, it just reads like he's this like snotty little punk trying to be cool. Yeah, which is exactly what this guy is. So it makes sense that he connects with this shit.
Yeah, I hate that he used Fight Club, but anyway. He also changed Brad Pitt's. Side note: Brad Pitt is so hot in that movie.
God damn it, dude!
Jesus Christ.
Edward Norton too, but like Brad, that is peak Brad Pitt. Also, is extremely inappropriate for us to be talking about this right now.
Okay, sorry
because of the context, but
that was a footnote.
I'm sorry. I have to apologize. That was really, but like, it's just yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Anyway,
we had to defend Fight Club for a minute. I had to.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, this fucking guy sucks. He also changed his Instagram little description that appears under your name to his life dates with the end date of July 14th. Like, so putting in his death date, which again,
guess what? You're still alive.
Glad it didn't work. Glad that didn't work. And then underneath the caption, just know that I feel no pain now.
Nobody cares. Nobody asked.
My husband is laughing on the couch because this is so stupid.
Nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody cares if you feel pain or not. You're a piece of shit. Like, fuck off. This isn't about you.
Yeah, he also took the time in this laborious fucking setup to post multiple things to Snapchat, including a shot of the tarp covering the body with the caption, "I'm sorry, Bianca," which like, no, you're not. Fuck you.
No, you're not.
You're doing this for social media.
Yeah.
And then another shot of his torso with kind of some blood that said like something to the effect of like, "Thanks to everyone who's been good to me. I'll miss you."
Like, God, okay. I fucking hate this piece of shit. This guy is the biggest fucking loser. This is like next level loser shit.
Next level loser.
Truly.
So later, authorities will also learn that he posted a video of the murder itself to his Instagram story, and this will fully come out at trial and be described at trial.
Like of him murdering her? It's on video?
Yes.
Not just the aftermath.
No, the actual murder. And
oh my God.
Parents,
I didn't know that.
The family never had to watch it, or thankfully has never seen it, but they pretty much said that like the description is enough.
That's
like
so fucked.
And it's enough to know that it exists.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you what happens in the video. So get ready to be slightly scarred.
Oh God. I was kind of wondering, but only...
yeah. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Cindy. I'm going to tell you. So in this video, essentially, Brandon sets up his phone as a camera to the fan/AC vent of the car, kind of facing into the back seat where Bianca was sleeping in the back of the car with kind of the seats folded down.
Because she trusted him.
Well, presumably, actually, I think, I didn't read this overtly, but I think what was happening is that she was sleeping in the back for a while because it's the middle of the night. And he was putting off taking her home. I don't know why, or if he was saying he was drunk, or he just didn't want to, or what. But he was kind of putting that off, and she was like, "I'll just sleep for a bit until you're ready." Okay. And she did trust him.
Yeah.
So he wakes Bianca up at the start of this video. She was sleeping. He confronts her about the kiss with Alex earlier that night, and she basically kind of blows it off, like, "Yeah, okay, sorry." And he says, "Sorry's not good enough," which like, oh my God, I hate you so much.
This guy's such a...
She gently reminds him that they were never an exclusive couple. Like that we weren't really a couple. Like, I'm not cheating on you, right?
Right. Also, she's 17 and you're 21. You shouldn't even be fucking touching her. Like, what are you doing?
That too. But also, like, we were never even dating.
Yeah.
So she then kind of asks, clearly probably getting a little nervous, if he's ready to take her home yet, which again indicates to me that he was kind of putting that off.
Right. Okay.
And this is when he attacks Bianca with the knife, basically brutally. And according to the descriptions, she also desperately fights for her life. She puts up a huge fight.
I mean, that's terrible, but I'm glad that she fought. I hope she
made it hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
He concludes this video after she's, not conscious by screaming into the camera, "Bianca, why did you make me do this?"
She didn't, you fucking troglodyte.
Okay. All right. We're getting there. So before
I want to write this guy hate mail. I'm going to like look for his fucking address right now so I can just write him hate mail.
I said this like a long time ago about the BTK killer. I'm like, can we all just troll him?
Yes. I know. I really want to do
this
that.
Guy also deserves hate mail for sure. For sure. So before the cops can tell her family that the body was found officially, this is one of the worst parts of this case. Online incel trolls send Bianca's family the murder photo.
No, dude. Why are people like that?
And they will continue to spam her close family and friends and supporters with this photo ad nauseum indefinitely. And this is always
probably still doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure they see it when they fucking close their eyes. Like they've been spammed with it so hard. And I, along with vile messages and memes and joke little like cartoons and memes and drawings and like virtually fan art that all is making fun of Bianca and blaming her for her murder. Things like some cartoon character with a thing on their neck saying like, "Oh, my neck hurts, Bianca Devins," right? Like,
oh, God damn it, dude. That's
relentless.
so fucked up. That's so fucked.
And on every post about her, it's just comments on comments and comments on comments saying she deserved it, right?
Yeah.
So after, like I said, this barrage of disgusting shit is continuous. The family fights to get the photo scrubbed off the internet, which takes them a long ass time and a lot of effort. That's something we talked about with like the murder videos of fire, happen live.
Mm-hmm.
That tends to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you cannot, I mean, I hate to say that I've looked because of this, but I can now tell you that you cannot find it online.
Oh, good.
Unless you're in some really dark ass Reddit or something I don't know
about.
on
fucking 4chan. Honestly.
Probably on 4chan, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see essentially a blurred out version, like the photo, but with that blur effect. Okay. And let me tell you, it's still very bad. Like even with the blur, you can tell what you're looking at.
It's very, very bad.
Yeah, even with a strong blur, it's terrible.
Ugh.
So I can't imagine the family having to see this. Lawyers would later term this campaign, quote unquote, a form of psychological terrorism against the family.
I mean, it fucking is. It fucking really is.
And you can still see all the joke memes and shit. Like that wasn't taken down. A lot of that wasn't. So you can still see that.
Yeah.
So Brandon is obviously arrested. Thankfully, he did not succeed in his pathetic suicide attempt. He's charged with second-degree murder, which I think is very fucking interesting.
That is clearly first degree.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would he get second degree?
Yeah,
he literally set up a camera to record the murder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what exactly?
I agree.
It's some white man shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, his defense is quote unquote extreme emotional disturbance, basically kind of pleading insanity. Obviously he's not going to deny that he did it, but he's just saying I'm insane. Right. Prosecutors began to lay out, I mean, I won't go through everything because obviously I just did all the bullshit he did, all the social media evidence, but they also proved that it was premeditated as fuck, which again, why the second degree?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And it also, they basically proved that it was not like a knee-jerk reaction to the kiss kind of thing. It wasn't a crime of passion, but he was
like hours later.
But no, he was planning on doing this before the concert for like a long time. Yes.
Really?
It was not about the concert. No. So that might have spurred it on in his mind, but he definitely had plans. So
he was going to murder her.
Yes.
Wow.
And so it wasn't kind of passion. He made a meticulous murder to-do list on his notes app days before.
How is this second degree? What the fuck?
It includes such dorky to-do list items as, quote, set up speaker, last song.
What a fucking dickbag.
Yeah.
God damn it.
He also extensively Googled how to murder someone, which arteries to hit when you're like cutting someone's throat, which is essentially what he did, how to choke someone out, etc. So this was essentially not a crime of passion, quote unquote, but a case of an incel baby bitch excuse for a human not accepting that a young woman, a girl, would not want to be with him.
Didn't want to be with him. Nope. And that's just how it fucking goes.
Yep. Couldn't accept that. Just before the trial starts in February 2020, Brandon pled guilty and gave a very pathetic attempt at an apology, to which the family's like, fuck off. And like, he said that he didn't want to go through with the trial because he didn't want the family to have to see the murder video. And I'm like, okay, but you posted it to the fucking internet.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude?
Basically ensuring that the family would get sent this shit. But oh no, I don't want them to see it. Then just like the bitch he is, he flip-flops and says, oh, never mind. I want to take my plea back. I do want to go to trial.
So then he does go to trial.
No, so he tried, but a judge actually denied his request to withdraw his plea. He's like, too late. You fucking pled guilty.
Fucking ridiculous.
Like, too late. And in March 2021, he was sentenced to the max for second-degree murder, which is 25 years to life. So I'm hoping they do not let him out in 25, frankly. Hoping he gets even longer.
Because, I mean, he's not going to be that old. He's going to be like...
in his 40s.
Almost my age. Just a little old. He's going to be like Rory's age.
Yeah.
That is a
Well,
full-grown, capable human being right there.
yeah, but again, there is that to life thing, so he doesn't have to necessarily get parole.
Yeah.
We can hope. And this motherfucker sucks. um,
Yeah.
so we'll
Yeah,
see.
he
We'll
does.
see what happens. So before his sentencing, he does have to face a series of heartbreaking statements from her grandpa, who she was really close with, and her mom. And yeah, that's the story of Bianca Devins. It just makes me really mad because I hate these incel fucking bitches. And this guy, just like Elliot Rodger, the fucking Ivy school shooter, is held up as this like incel hero. And she is continually
Yeah.
still villainized by these people, and he is still praised by these people. And honestly, like, if there's one category of person on Earth, like, I would like to relentlessly like hurl in a volcano, it's incels.
Incels. They're the worst. Like people who are like, oh yeah, he should have like murdered her
For
because
not
she
wanting to be with
be with
him.
him. But it's like, I would love to give an incel, like, here's the incel conundrum that will make their head explode. What if two incels want the same girl? Does she have
I
to be
guess
with one and then the other one gets to kill her? Like, what exactly? Like, it's
I
just the
guess
logic
one
is
of them
so
has to
fucking
murder her.
stupid.
Yeah. It's so fucking stupid. No. Oh my god.
I had heard that maybe there was also a sexual assault
Mm.
involved in that, but I don't know.
I didn't see
Uh
that in the things I looked at, but it's definitely wouldn't be shocking.
yeah, I don't know. Um I think her parents said something about, I don't know. I just remember reading that, but I don't know. In any case, I'm glad the video like is not findable, you
No.
know. It
No.
doesn't seem like that ever, like, I mean it
That
was.
was I mean, yeah, it's weird. I haven't seen even like a still from it. I haven't seen a single thing. It's been completely scrubbed. The photo is only blurred.
God, that's so fucked up. And
Yeah.
like it's weird. So did you guys, okay, so it's so strange the families that randomly get targeted by trolls to have like their daughter. It's always daughters. It's always like women that are murdered or die.
Mm-hmm.
Their families get harassed. There was a girl named Nikki Katsouris. I don't know if anybody knows who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who she is?
I think so, yeah.
She's Porsche Girl is what she's also called.
Mm.
Um, she died in 2006. She was 18 years old in Lake Forest, and she got in a fight with her parents and took her dad's Porsche and went driving. And she was doing like 100 miles an hour, and she accidentally clipped a car and hit a toll booth.
Mm.
And to say that the crime scene photos are grisly would be like a vast understatement. They are like
Yeah.
absolutely fucking horrifying. And it's an interesting case if you guys want to read about it. It's not necessarily true crime, but it does involve like crime and like court systems. Her family like tried to sue to get like the photos taken down,
Oh
and
my
people
god.
email them to them like weekly. Like
Ugh,
still they get emails from people here and
it's
there,
so fucked
like
up.
photos of their
It's so
dead
fucked
daughter.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's insane. And it was like the crash was so bad that the coroner would not allow them to identify her. They were like, we're not going to have
Wow.
her parents identify her. Like somebody else has to do it. And so it's just always interesting to me when it's like a young girl and she's super cute and she gets,
Uh-huh.
horrifically, dies horrifically in one way or another.
Yeah.
The very next step is for fucking motherfuckers to just torment their families. And
And it's this
don't
way
get it.
too that we see a lot in true crime cases of like fetishizing the grisly death of young women, or making it a joke, or making it
Yeah.
something cute, or making it something funny, and it's like
Yeah.
sexualizing violence as well in a weird way with Bianca. And it's just really fucked up. And there's so much victim blaming, and also so much focus on like the girl with the internet persona. Da, 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 da. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, she didn't deserve to be murdered. Like, just because she had a bunch of Instagram profiles. Like, they kind
Well,
of
it's the
paint
same
her as this
thing.
like seductress. And I'm like, no, she was actually quite shy. She actually struggled with mental illness. She actually had like this, she was a nerd,
And it's the same thing
you know?
with like the alcohol. There's always some reason
Mm-hmm.
why it's the female
The
victim's
girl's fault.
fault.
Yeah.
Why is it the
Yeah.
woman's fault? Why is it the girl's fault? Like, what did they
Or
do
some
wrong to
way
deserve
to
it?
paint them as like a sexy temptress, when I'm like, Bianca Devins was literally like a 17-year-old nerd.
Yeah,
Like,
she was a child, a literal
yeah.
actual child.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that's it. Like, ugh,
It's really gross.
fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Goodness. All right. Well, I'm glad that's over. What's the next topic?
I had one idea. I haven't told you, so it's an actual surprise.
Ooh, it
Let
is
me
a
know what you think.
surprise. Okay.
I think this would be totally different. But what about Black Widows? we haven't done. We talked about it recently.
Really not, because we've done some cases.
We did. Well, no, we did Poisoners, and that's what you're thinking of, because I think that was like half Black Widows. The poisoner ladies
tend to
also
back
tend to have
doing
some
like
overlap.
10 cases. So
yeah. But there tends to be some overlap with the Poisoners, but it wasn't entirely Black Widows. So
no, dude, I'm down. I'm into it. I'm down.
Ladies that kill all their husbands. It's fun.
I like that. We've done like
fun.
the giggling granny.
A couple. Yeah, we've done a couple.
But like Dorothea Puente doesn't count, and I did her kind of, and I was like, oh, like Dorothea Puente, but she doesn't count. She didn't murder all of her husbands. That's not a thing.
People who murder their husbands. I think it's a rich topic. We haven't done them all.
I like that. It's weirdly, vaguely well timed for Father's Day. I don't know. It feels good.
Oh yeah, we should have done a killer dad one. We did World War Dads one year. That was good.
That was really good. No, let's do Black Widows. I'm into it. I'm down. Let's do it. Okay, cool. So that's our topic for next week, guys. Thanks everybody for listening, liking, rating, reviewing, sharing us with your friends and family, and traumatizing them along with the rest of us. Yeah, I guess that's all we have to say. Join us on Instagram, Patreon, TikTok. Check out the website, buy some stickers. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So until Black Widow week.
Hey.
Off our.